Yeah, what is up, fight fans? Zerda here, back with a banger video. This is actually my first video, but we're gonna be going into the nitty gritty and the X's and O's of Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway, and a couple other fights on the card. So this card got announced pretty recently, a couple days ago, and by now MMA YouTube's been all over this. They've really kind of exploded on it, and they've already delved into everything. So you guys already know everything about this card, but obviously the main fight, we got Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway, and guys, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be picking Max Holloway. I just think Max Holloway is actually a nightmare matchup for Ilia Topuria. He's too fast. He's experienced, and I think he knocks him out in like 3 rounds. No, but in all seriousness, guys, this one's going to Ilia. This one is going to Ilia. So we've got we've got Max Holloway. Obviously, he's the fan favorite, and a lot of people like to glaze this guy. But I think MMA YouTube has wised up, and they've realized that Ilia Topuria is not a guy who's gonna lose, probably ever, if we're being realistic. I'm not a glazer, guys. Ilia Topuria is one of my favorite fighters, but I'm not glazing him. I'm just being objective here with my views. And also Max Holloway, I want to say this. Max Holloway is like a top 10 fighter for me. Top 10 favorite fighters for me. I picked him in all the Volk fights, or I was rooting for him in all the Volk fights because I like him. He's one of my favorite fighters. He, got me into the sport. And I love him. He's a great fighter. I picked him against Gaethje. I'll root for him in every fight except for this one because I am a Topuria fan. And, I hate this narrative that's been coming out. That's been being pushed by, Bedtime MMA and these guys on TikTok and Instagram that these Topuria fans, they just came out of the womb. They just came out of nowhere. I mean, they came out of nowhere after 298. Like, where were you seeing these guys? That narrative is like it's a bit tarded. It's tarded. But that narrative sucks, man, because that you could say that with every fighter. Who was a Volk fan like before he won the belt off Max, and even when he won the belt off Max? Obviously, when a fighter becomes the champion, he's going to have like 10 times more fans than before he became the champ. And more people are going to know about him, especially like the casuals that don't even watch fight nights and stuff like that. But, me personally, I've been an Ilia fan for a while now. And, Spain is one of my countries. I consider it one of my countries. I lived there for a bit. But I'm going to support Ilia Topuria because I like him. Ilia Topuria is just a guy. He's a cool guy. I get like a lot of people think he's this dick. He's a total dick. He's cocky, arrogant, which, you could say he is, but he backs it up at the end of the day, and I find that cool. Okay, I don't care. I think more people are going to get around to him, especially when he fights guys like Mavzar. Sorry, I think more people will root for him then. But, now I get it. People are going to pick Max that aren't too into fights. You can pick Max if you're into fights and you're hardcore, right? You can pick him. But the real hardcores are picking Ilia Topuria because we know that he is a, obviously you can get into the nitty gritty and the X's and O's, and you can see that you can get into the stylistic matchup and say, Ilia Topuria is a short guy, and, Max has struggled against shorter opponents, Frankie Edgar, and all these things, obviously Volk. But I'm not going to get into that. I don't care about that stuff right now. That'll come at a later date, if we ever do dive deeper into this. But for right now, all I have to say is that Ilia Topuria is undefeated. He looked great in his past fights. In every fight, he's looked pretty I don't know if I can swear on this, but he's looked pretty good. He's looked pretty good. And obviously against Volk, it was a competitive matchup. And people might say, like, dude, that was Volkov 4 weeks or 4 months. 4 months notice, bro? Seriously? He didn't look that good against Volk. Like, dude, I don't care. He knocked him out in the second round. It was a great performance. Volk looked competitive, and that's because Volk is a good fighter. He's obviously probably past his prime during that fight, but still, he was a very good fighter, and he was showing that he was competitive with Ilia. And, you could take that if you want. If you're a Max fan, if you just think Max is going to win, you could take that as, oh, well, Ilia has only beat up washed guys or something. But that's just not true. I mean, the 50-42 against Josh Emmett was very, very excellent. It was a great performance, and I don't care. Josh Emmett is one of those guys who's ranked between top 10 and top 5 consistently. And that's an excellent performance against somebody like that. 50-42ing anybody is insanely impressive, let alone Josh Emmett, and in the way that Ilia Topuria did. That's why I think Ilia, he doesn't even need to wrestle, in my opinion, to win this fight. But obviously, if you are picking Ilia, you're probably thinking he might wrestle and maybe even try and go for a submission on Max, which, you could say that's smart, but I think Ilia can just beat Max in the stand-up alone. I know Max is a great striker, probably a top 5 striker right now, but Ilia is also a great striker, and more specifically, a better boxer than Max Holloway. He's not necessarily a better striker than Max, but better boxer. I do value his boxing above Max's, and I think that he can piece him up. I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to be one of these guys. I know there's a lot of fence sitters, and there's a lot of people saying, I think I got Ilia, but Max is a bad stylistic matchup. I could see Max actually winning this one. I don't want to take any credit away from Max. I'm not one of those guys, okay? I think Ilia can knock him out, okay? And I know that's that's a popular hardcore take. Ilia's gonna knock him out, but it's true. I think Ilia could break his chin. We did see Max get dropped by Gaethje. If you want to say that's off balance, whatever. Max has said that it wasn't off balance, but fighters say that all the time to give credit to the other guy. But I still do think that this is gonna be a very, 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 very likely win for Ilia Topuria. I don't think it's 50-50 like a lot of people are saying. And granted, I am completely glazing Ilia right now, but I think he's going to put on a very dominant performance regardless. And I think this is going to be the matchup that'll finally prove to the fans that Ilia is actually the elite guy. A lot of people already see it, but a lot of people don't. Especially the Instagram comments and TikTok fans obviously are saying Ilia's going to get fraud tracked. He's the next Cody Garbrandt, because that makes sense, right? That makes a lot of sense. But Ilia is not a one-hit wonder. He's not a flukester. He's not any of these, and he's proven it. And this will be proof to anybody who thinks he's not. But yeah, so beating a prime Max Holloway would be insanely impressive. And I think he's going to be able to do it. But that's enough glazing. We'll talk about this in a later date as well when it gets closer to the fight. But let's move on to Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane. We got Ciryl Gane versus Alexander Volkov. And I think Alexander Volkov's got this in the bag, lads. I just think he's too powerful. No, but seriously, I do think Volkov is going to win this fight. And, I know they fought already before, and it was a 50-45, right, for Gane. But I don't really care about the previous fight, okay? I don't care about the previous fight. I'm disregarding that. I think Volkov's going to come into this maybe with a different matchup or different style and approach as well. And, if Volkov's smart, he'll probably try and wrestle and try and sub Gane, which he could. He did. Granted, he did that against Tai Tuivasa, and, you might not think Tai is the best, and obviously he's proven that he's not one of the elite guys necessarily, but, I still value that performance, and I think it was a good submission, and especially the Pavlovich performance, dude. I think that is a very good showcase that Volkov isn't the same guy he necessarily was in the past, and I obviously think, the whole narrative is that Ciryl Gane's not taking his career seriously anymore, and I think that's true. I just think he doesn't have, that competitive drive that Volkov is showing me, at least. I think Volkov's going to win this. We're not going to get into the nitty-gritty. I don't really care about that. The Weasel can do that for you guys. He can, say who's going to throw this kick, who's going to kick this, and then who's going to friggin' do this, and I don't care, okay? We don't care about that. We just care that this is a feelings-based pick. I'm the best at feelings-based picks. Every pick that I pick based on my feelings is a correct pick, and I do think that Volkov is going to win this, okay? Volkov's a changed man. He's going to win this. All right, next up, we got Bobby Knuckles versus Khamzat Chimaev. And, man, I got Robert Whittaker winning this one all day. As much as I could wish that I could say, Robert's going to win this one, I don't think he's going to win this, bro. I don't think Whittaker's going to win this fight. He did beat Ikram. Obviously, he was meant to fight Khamzat. before, but that fight never happened because freaking Khamzat pulled out, and somehow he's getting the rematch, which this is the most... I have no clue why Whittaker accepted this rematch, or... not. This isn't even a rematch. It's just, I have no clue why Whittaker would accept this fight when Khamzat already pulled out. Like, Khamzat already pulled out of the fight. It's just... it's so dumb because Whittaker probably would have been next in line with for their title shot after Strickland, and I think he should have just waited or, tried to fight Strickland because that is a better matchup than this. And, as much as you guys want to say, like, Khamzat gasses out after a round, and, Khamzat's really not this, as he's like aura. He's like an aura merchant or whatever. I don't care. Khamzat is a good fighter. I'm not a Khamzat fan, but he is a good fighter, and I'd be stupid to say that he's not. Obviously, he did go to like a draw, in my opinion, against Usman. So there is that, but I do think that Whittaker's gonna lose this, bro. I don't even know. Is this a 3-round fight? If this is a 3-round fight, it's terrible for Whittaker. If it's a 5-round, Whittaker has a little bit more of an advantage, but I'm still picking Khamzat. Like, if I had to bet on this, I would pick Khamzat, but then again, the lines are probably terrible. Like, I would assume Chimaev's the favorite, but I think he's the favorite for a reason. So I would have to pick Chimaev in this. I'll be rooting for Whittaker, obviously. And I know I'll be rooting for Whittaker, but I just think Khamzat is like the real deal in the sense that he is like a top 3 guy. Maybe not champ, but he is the top 3 guy, and he is very inactive, and that's kind of been a part of the reason why people don't like him, me included. I don't like him anymore because he constantly pulls out of fights. He's constantly whining on Twitter, and he's just, I don't know, he's extremely annoying in my opinion, but he is a good fighter, so I think he's going to win that fight. And then this is the last fight we'll be looking at today. I'm not going to get into these other fights until we get closer to the actual card. And I'm assuming they're going to put more fights on this card, but it is pretty stacked already. Like, all of these could have their own breakdowns, but we're just going to save these for later. But yeah, we got the last fight, Magomed Ankalaev versus Rakic. So obviously Rakic just got sunned by my boy Yuri with the crazy comeback, but he was looking good against Yuri, and that's something you have to admit. Like, even as a Yuri fan, he was looking very good against Yuri, and I think everyone's kind of accepted that he was winning up until the second round, but then Yuri came back and Yuri did what he did, and he still had a good performance against Yuri, but Ankalaev, Ankalaev, who did he fight last? He fought Johnny Walker, right? And I don't even remember how that went. Oh yeah, it was like a second round knockout or first round knockout or something. But yeah, obviously, I mean, Ankalaev was supposed to fight Pereira. I don't know what they're doing with Pereira. I guess some people have been saying like this is confirming that he's moving up to heavyweight. Other people have just been saying that they're trying to save like an Izzy matchup if Izzy wins against Dricus. But I personally think that Ankalaev is probably going to win this, as much as I'd like to be like the guy who's like trying to be hardcore and say, dude, Rakic looked great in his last performance. I think he could win this easily. I'm not going to do that because I just think if I'm going based on what I feel is going to happen and, without going into the big statistics or like reading all about this, reading about whose leg reach is longer. And whose reach? Wait, Alexander Rakic has the longer reach? I think I'm taking Rakic to win this one. I'm not going to do that because obviously that's not... Fights never turn out how you think they're going to turn out when you're diving into the nitty-gritty and the X's and O's. Okay? So, I'm personally taking Ankalaev. He's proved that he is a good fighter. And, he is Dagestani, so people aren't going to like him. But he is actually one of the more entertaining Dagestanis, and I think people have kind of realized that by now. He is willing to, like, stand on the feet, and he prefers standing on the feet. But yeah, I think if it's a stand-up battle, I don't know. I'd personally still lean against Ankalaev, but Rakic does have some good leg kicks that could light up Ankalaev. I'm pretty sure Ankalaev has good leg kicks though too. But I mean, going against a guy like Jan Blachowicz, he did have to grapple him, and obviously went to a draw with him. But dude, I personally, even though Blachowicz is older than Rakic, and you could consider him like washed or whatever, I personally think that he's a more impressive and better fighter than Rakic. But I don't know. Any way that I look at it, I just see Ankalaev winning, and I can't like lie to myself. This might change in the future if I see something different, but I'm definitely gonna be picking Ankalaev, and I think it's kind of cope if you're picking Rakic, but you could pick Rakic. You know, you could pick him if you want, but I think Ankalaev's gonna win this fight, and then he'll get the title shot against Pereira, and then hopefully Pereira chins him, which I think would happen as well. I think Pereira's gonna chin him. He's got the aura going right now. You know, sadly he had to knock out my boy Yuri, and you know, that was a pretty sad loss. But he did prove to me in that fight that I can't pick against Pereira anymore. You know, as much as I was picking against him in the past, I just can't pick against him anymore. So if Magomed wins this fight and he does fight Pereira, I would pick Pereira though. So yeah, and I think that's what's gonna happen here. But yeah, I think Magomed's gonna win this fight. Overall, this is like an insane card. It's probably like the second best card this year, other than 300, obviously. But you know, we're gonna get into Topuria. We're gonna get into Topuria versus Holloway at a later date, because that is an excellent fight. We're definitely gonna be reviewing that again. But I'm gonna stop yapping. This is a great card, and yeah, make sure to leave a like on the video, guys. And if you liked my breakdown, just let me know in the comments. Let me know if you disagree with me though. Like, totally leave some comments. I'm definitely gonna read them. Leave some comments about who you think's gonna win these fights, and if I'm matching your picks, and what do you guys think? If you think Holloway's gonna run through Ilia, I mean, I probably think so too, honestly. So just let me know in the comments. See you guys in the next video. Peace.